Oompa Loompa Orange, narcissistic weasel of an ex-husband, Griffin Gentry. Bam. Tell me that doesn't just paint a picture you want to immediately punch.
For heaven's sake, can we at least introduce the book before you start advocating violence based on reviewer descriptions? That quote, while admittedly vivid, requires context.
Context is boring, like that time you tried to explain the context of the whale. He was just big-boned and misunderstood. This Griffin guy sounds like a grade A dirtbag from word one. No context needed.
It was Moby Dick, and the whale was a complex symbol of nature's indifference and Ahab's obsessive mania, not big-boned.
We are supposed to be discussing The Body in the Backyard by Lucy Score, the fourth installment in the Riley Thorn series. A comedic mystery involving a psychic protagonist.
Right. The Corpse Near the Compost by Lucy, whatever. Point is, this Riley woman, she's psychic, right? But the real magic is this Griffin guy everyone hates. Finally, a character we can all agree on. Unlike giant sea mammals.
The author is Lucy Score, and while Griffin Gentry's unlikability is certainly a feature, the central premise involves Riley protecting him despite universal disdain while navigating interference from, well, let's call them eccentric elderly neighbors.
Eccentric. Those old folks sound like my kind of party. Breaking and entering. Shenanigans. Sign me up.
Let's start with the Oompa Loompa Orange gentleman, Griffin Gentry. Reviewers describe him as slimmy, unbearable, insufferable. He's a former news anchor, clearly exhibiting traits of narcissistic personality disorder.
Oh, I've dated that guy. Like 3 times. The one who checks his hair in the reflection of his soup spoon. Thinks his fantasy football league is breaking news. Oh, this Griffin sounds like my ex. Kevin. If Kevin discovered spray tans and lost his last remaining shred of dignity. Good riddance if someone is trying to off him, I say. Let nature take its course.
The plot requires him to survive. But yes, his characterization as a universally despised narcissist is potent. There's even mention of a GGS group, Griffin Gentry Survivors. It speaks volumes.
Where do I sign up? Seriously. Is there a newsletter? A secret handshake? I bet they have great snacks at the meetings. Probably lots of cheese cubes. People united by hate always bring good cheese.
Moving on to the other controversial element, the elderly neighbors. Mrs. Penny, Mr. Willicott. Reviewers are violently divided. Some find their kooky shenanigans hilarious. Others, and I must confess I lean this way, find their utter lack of boundaries and blatant disregard for the law grating. Implausible, even.
Grating. They're heroes. Breaking into houses. Bungling surveillance. That's not implausible. That's Tuesday night for my Aunt Carol. Remember when she tried to borrow her neighbor's prize, winning poodle, because she thought it looked lonely. These folks are living their best lives. Purple hair and a penchant for guns. Mrs. Penny is my spirit animal.
Spirit animal? They're committing felonies? Played for laughs, perhaps, but it stretches credulity, and some readers feel they hijack the narrative, overshadowing the supposed protagonist, Riley. Her psychic abilities are reportedly downplayed in this installment.
Who needs psychic powers when you've got old people causing chaos? That's way more entertaining. Riley can take a nap. Let the Golden Girls Gone Wild squad handle it. Although, poor Nick, the hot PI boyfriend, trying to keep his girl safe while simultaneously stopping Grandma from picking locks. That man deserves a medal. Or a very strong drink. Probably both.
His truly unreal, competitive streak might be the only thing keeping him sane amidst that maelstrom.
Okay. So is it good? People seem to either want to marry this book or burn it in a dumpster fire, especially over the old folks. One review said, I audibly groaned every time they came up. Wimps.
While another declared it, quote, hands down the funniest book I have ever read. The polarity is striking. It highlights the subjectivity of humor, particularly humor derived from geriatric chaos and boundary violations.
Exactly. Some people just don't appreciate high art, like that reviewer who called it a bit of a circus. Yeah, buddy, that's the point. Who wants a boring, sensible mystery when you can have a three-ring circus run by pensioners?
There's also the absurdity of the central conflict protecting the universally reviled Griffin. It's a comedic tightrope. Does the humor land? Or does the sheer awfulness of the character become tiresome? The existence of the GGS group suggests the author leans into the hate.
Okay? Hypothetical time. If Griffin Gentry were a sandwich, what kind would he be?
That's utterly ridiculous and contributes nothing to all right, fine. He'd be, perhaps, a cheap white bread sandwich slathered excessively with imitation cheese spread that's turned slightly orange hal, with maybe one wilted, slimy piece of bologna left out in the sun too long satisfied.
Perfect. See, you get it. Now, some listeners, okay, fine. Imaginary listeners, since the cheapskates won't pay for a phone line, might email in saying, but where's the smut? Where's the psychic action?
A valid critique, perhaps. If the series' premise involves psychic abilities, sidelining them feels like a structural weakness. One reviewer lamented the lack of smut, which seems an odd expectation for this particular subgenre, but
Maybe Riley's psychic mojo was just recharging. Or maybe it knew better than to get involved with the spray, tanned weasel, and the B and E brigade. Sometimes, the smartest thing your superpower can do is take a vacation. It's called self-care. Look it up.
I highly doubt psychic phenomena operate on the principle of self-care.
All right, verdict time. I give the body in the backyard 8 out of 10 restraining orders filed against the old folks by terrified suspects. Pure, unadulterated chaos. Just how I like it.
Restraining orders. Good grief. From a critical perspective, the narrative is uneven, the protagonist occasionally feels secondary, and the reliance on geriatric absurdity borders on the farcical. However, it possesses a certain manic energy. I award it 4 out of 7 counts of breaking and entering. Read it if you enjoy laughing at chaos, not with coherence.
See. Even he kind of liked the crime spree.
I did not say I liked. Oh, never mind.
Okay, bookworms and weirdos. That's all the time we have. Tune in next week when we tackle sentient sock puppets of the 7th dimension. Is it ski? Fee? Is it horror? Is it laundry day gone wrong?
That isn't a real book. Join us next time on Heart Book Radio, where literature meets, well, whatever this is.
Bye. Don't get arrested.